So a couple of weeks ago, Ilia Topuria announced that he's going to be taking some time away from the fight game to deal with some personal issues, and no one really knew the full extent of those personal issues, but now we do. Ilia Topuria has released a statement to Twitter, and it's not looking good for Ilia Topuria whatsoever. This is going to be a rough...
But if it comes true, it'd be a cool prediction to have, and that is Ilia comes back. The bolder prediction is he loses. Comes back too soon, still dealing with all this bullshit. Ends up losing because he's not in the right headspace.
Yo, listen, before we even get into the courtroom drama, the allegations, the custody war, and all the noise that had the entire MMA world on the edge of its seat for damn near half a year, we gotta talk about why any of this even matters in the first place. Because if Ilia Topuria was just some random dude going through a breakup, none of us would be here right now. But nah, this ain't just some regular dude. This is El Matador, the man who came out of absolutely nowhere, put the entire featherweight division in a body bag, and then, because apparently that wasn't enough, went upstairs and did the exact same thing to the lightweights. We're talking about a legit, certified, no asterisk needed 17-0 double UFC world champion, undefeated, untouched. The first man to ever hold both the featherweight and lightweight straps while repping both Georgia and Spain on the global stage. That's not hype, that's history. So let's rewind the tape real quick and paint the picture properly, because the fall hits a whole lot different when you understand how high the climb was. Topuria had been on an absolute tear. He won the featherweight title back in February 2024, and the whole combat sports world was like, okay, this kid is different. Then he went ahead and defended that belt against Max Holloway, in October 2024. Blessed got blessed, if you catch my drift. And then, in what might be the most savage move of 2025, Topuria moved up to lightweight and flatlined Charles Oliveira in the first round on June 29th, 2025, becoming a bona fide two-division champion. Bro literally walked through Du Bronx like it was a light sparring session on a Tuesday afternoon. The octagon was his playground. Nobody could see this man inside those four walls. Nobody. And outside the cage, life was looking just as sweet. Topuria was married to Georgina Uzcategui Bedell, a businesswoman, an entrepreneur, and the mother of his daughter, also named Georgina. He also had a son, Hugo, from a previous relationship. The family was living lavish out in Las Lomas in Boadilla del Monte, one of the most exclusive neighborhoods in Madrid, Spain, where property runs about 3,000 euros per square meter. We're talking about a mini mansion type situation. They were the it couple in the MMA scene, posting family flicks on the gram, looking all loved up, living that champion lifestyle. Topuria's Instagram was dripping with positivity, 13 million followers deep, his bio reading, God first, El Matador, WFC world champion, proved them wrong. And for a while, that's exactly what he was doing, proving every single doubter wrong, in the cage and out. His feed was full of fight highlights, training reels, motivational content, and yes, family photos. Photos with Georgina, photos with the kids, the whole nine. But here's the thing about life, fam, and this applies whether you live in the suburbs or the trenches. Sometimes the biggest fights you'll ever face ain't the ones where people are watching. Sometimes the hardest rounds happen behind closed doors, away from the cameras, away from the lights. And that's exactly what happened to Ilia Topuria in the second half of 2025. Because while the rest of us were out here debating who could beat him next inside the octagon, the champ was fighting a war at home that nobody saw coming. The kind of war that doesn't end with a knockout, the kind that ends with lawyers, courtrooms, and your whole personal life splashed across every headline from Madrid to Miami. So, when Topuria announced in late November 2025 that he wouldn't be fighting in the first quarter of the next year, and said, and these are his words, "I'm going through a difficult moment in my personal life. I want to focus on my children and resolve this situation as soon as possible. I don't want to hold up the division." The whole MMA community collectively lost its mind. The undefeated double champ stepping away because of personal issues? Nah, something was very, very wrong. And what came next was messier, wilder, and more complicated than anyone could have predicted. Alright, so here's where the story takes a hard left turn into some real-life, no-holds-barred, absolute chaos. Because the breakup between Ilia Topuria and Georgina Uzcategui wasn't just some we-grew-apart situation. Nah, this joint went nuclear, and it went nuclear fast. According to multiple reports, the couple initially separated at the end of August 2025. At first, it was supposed to be relatively civil. Both sides sat down and started negotiating the terms of the split. Finances, shared assets, the business interests they had together, and most importantly, what was going to happen with their daughter. But those negotiations, they hit a brick wall. The talk stalled because of what Topuria would later describe as illogical economic demands. Basically, he felt the financial asks were way out of pocket. And that's when things got real ugly, real fast. By late October, early November 2025, Topuria filed a civil divorce lawsuit. The terms, according to reports, were actually described as favorable to Uzcategui on a lot of the shared matters. But here's the twist. Shortly after Georgina got served with that filing, she turned around and filed a criminal complaint alleging domestic abuse and mistreatment. We're talking full-blown violencia de género, gender-based violence allegations under Spain's specialized court system, the Juzgado de Violencia sobre la Mujer en Móstoles, Madrid. Now, hold on. Before anybody runs with anything, let's talk about what actually happened on the legal side. Because the internet was going crazy. MMA, forums, Reddit, Twitter, everybody had an opinion. But the facts paint a specific picture. Despite the criminal complaint being filed, reports consistently noted that no immediate enforcement actions were taken. No arrest, no restraining order, and no formal charges were brought against Topuria. The complaint triggered a judicial review, sure, but it didn't result in any of the heavy measures you'd expect if the court found immediate merit. Topuria, for his part, came out swinging, not with his fists, but with his words. On December 15, 2025, he posted a statement on social media saying he had endured intolerable situations and pressures tied directly to the separation. He framed the whole thing as retaliation. In his detailed January 3, 2026 statement, he laid it all out, saying, "The situation began with a divorce petition filed by me, following weeks of negotiations after our separation. After I refused to accept certain completely unreasonable financial demands, a complaint alleging abuse was filed weeks later, something I had previously been threatened with. Bro essentially called it attempted extortion, claiming that he was threatened with false abuse allegations if he didn't meet the financial demands. He also dropped another bombshell. He said he hadn't seen his daughter in 4 months despite multiple attempts to see her. 4 months, fam. For a man who publicly says, "My family is my priority." That had to be eating him alive. Meanwhile, Georgina wasn't staying silent either. On her end, she filed separate police reports about online threats and harassment she was receiving, including screenshots and even a medical note for anxiety. She cited this online abuse as one of the reasons she wanted to relocate to Miami with their daughter. Her Instagram shifted dramatically after the split. She unfollowed Ilia, deleted all their couple photos, and her content became focused on motherhood, spirituality, and self-empowerment. Posts about deep purification, knowing her worth, and building what she called an immortal empire. All of it painted the picture of a woman going through it, processing it publicly in her own way. But on January 9, 2026, Topuria scored his first W outside the octagon. A Spanish court ruled in his favor, dismissing Uzcategui's request to relocate to Miami with their daughter. And here's the part that really shifted public opinion. The judge noted that Georgina had already purchased flight tickets before Topuria's public statement went viral, meaning the fleeing harassment angle didn't hold up because the move was planned before the media firestorm even started. After the ruling, Topuria told reporters outside the courthouse, "I'm happy because I'm going to see my girl again soon. My family is my priority." The internet went ballistic. Reddit threads were pulling thousands of upvotes with comments like, "Another first-round KO for the Matador," and fans joking that his record should now be 18-0 counting the court win. On X, people were calling it "Gold Diggers Lose Again," and the memes were absolutely out of control. Look, the court of public opinion had already made its ruling, and it wasn't kind to Georgina. Now fast forward to today. February 5th, 2026, the day the whole saga officially wrapped up. And honestly, for Ilia Topuria, it couldn't have come soon enough. Here's what went down. Georgina Uzcategui withdrew her lawsuit after signing a settlement that agreed to the original terms Topuria had proposed from the very beginning. Let that sink in for a second. After months of legal warfare, criminal complaints, custody battles, allegations of abuse, counter-allegations of extortion, all of it, the case was officially dismissed. The custody dispute, dismissed. The overall lawsuit, done. No further proceedings. The whole thing ended on the exact terms the champ put on the table from day one. That's what we call a clean sweep, and in hood terms, bro took the whole pot. Multiple outlets confirmed the news. Reports from Marca and other Spanish media reported the settlement, and MMA accounts across X and YouTube were all over it within hours. The reactions were exactly what you'd expect. Fans celebrated like Topuria had just won another title. Comments like "undefeated in the cage" and "in the courtroom" flooded every thread. Even the skeptics who had questioned whether the whole drama was a smokescreen to duck fights had to take an L. This was real, it was painful, and it was finally over. And here's the part that gets every MMA fan's blood pumping. Topuria immediately got back to work. Like immediately. No vacation, no taking time to heal moment. Straight to the gym. Reports confirmed that post-settlement, Topuria resumed training at his private home gym in Madrid, and his Instagram reflected exactly that. His most recent post? "The champ is back," accompanied by training footage. The man didn't even let the ink dry on the settlement before he was throwing hands on a heavy bag. That's a different kind of dog mentality right there. So, what's next for El Matador? Because that's the real question everybody's been waiting to ask ever since this whole mess started. And the answer is, the comeback is very much loading. Topuria is reportedly eyeing a return to the octagon somewhere between April and June 2026 for what could be a massive title unification or defense. And when it comes to opponents, the man has been talking his talk on social media because that's what champions do. He's called out Arman Sarukian, saying he'd be an easy KO. He's been keeping tabs on the Paddy Pimblett versus Justin Gaethje matchup, seemingly interested in whoever walks out of that one with the win. And then there's the big fish, Islam Makhachev, who also became a double champ in 2025, making a potential clash between the two the most anticipated super fight in recent memory. Topuria, he's already dismissed Makhachev as a threat, classic El Matador energy. The man even went as far as predicting he'd win the 2026 KO of the Year award. Bro ain't just confident, he's operating on a whole different frequency. Like this is a man who just went through what might be the worst 6 months of his personal life. His marriage imploding, abuse allegations in the headlines, being separated from his daughter for 4 months, fighting a legal battle in a foreign court system. And his first instinct the second the case closes is to get back in the gym and start calling out the best fighters on the planet. You can't teach that. That's built different. And look, we gotta be real about something. This whole situation was messy. Divorce is messy. Custody disputes are messy. Allegations from either side are serious, and they carry weight regardless of how they end. We're not here to play judge and jury on anybody's marriage. What we are here to acknowledge is that the legal system did its thing, both sides came to an agreement, the case is closed, and Topuria is now free to do what he does best, compete at the highest level of combat sports on planet Earth. Because at the end of the day, that's the story. An undefeated champion got knocked off his rhythm by life outside the cage. The kind of adversity that has ended careers, broken spirits, and derailed legacies. And instead of crumbling, he handled his business, in court, in negotiations, and now, back in the gym. Ilia Topuria is 17-0. The case is settled. The drama is done. And El Matador, he's back. The comeback is loading. And honestly, whoever's next on the schedule better have been training, because a Topuria with something to prove is the most dangerous version of Topuria there is. The Matador is coming, and he's bringing the whole damn bull ring with him.